Mr. DJ, won't you turn the music up? It goes 1 by 1, even 2 by 2. Everybody in the floor, let me show you how we do. Let's.
If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button or I'm coming through your computer screen with aloe vera oil, wax drips and 17 freshly sharpened Doritos. An outbreak. You love to see them. Really builds the tension, you know? Nothing like a couple of cheeky zombies to freshen up your... Oh shit, is that my wife? You play as a man called Deacon St. John, who by the way has the sickest name in human history, but unfortunately his wife's just been stabbed and you're trying to help save her because, you know, she's bleeding out. Everybody is panicking, so I decide to ask this scientist slash rave lord in a white cosy where he's going because no offense to him, but he looks like he does experiments for a living in an underground bunker and I don't want my wife coming back to me in the future looking like the She-Hulk. The little nerd tells me he's only got room for 2 though, and unfortunately, you know the saying, bros before hoes. So I give him a ring, because I can't leave Boozer behind, because he's got a gash in his leg, probably won't be able to make it without me, might die, and he's my homeboy, and you know, I ain't leaving nobody behind.
Oh shit. What did you do?
2,000 years later.
2 years later, and the world is starting to look like a very different place. Deacon and Boozer have been living on their own in isolation as bounty hunters and are out searching for a man named Leon who ran off with a stash of loot. We instead find a woman named Alvarez who was slowly bleeding to death. We asked Alvarez who tried to kill her and she told us that it was Leon, and as coincidence would have it, he drives past us, getting an all-out chase sequence where we really mean business. Boozer manages to shoot Leon during the chase sequence, which then ends up injuring him and he has to ditch his bike, which gives us an opportunity to track him down thanks to the blood spatter on the floor. Once we track down Leon, we ask him why he didn't finish off Alvarez instead of letting her bleed out. He says he didn't want to waste a bullet on her and we have to do the same thing to him unless he gives us the location of the stash. He hands us a map in exchange for a quick death.
Do it. Don't leave me out here, man. Do it. Do it! You goddamn liar! Do it.
On our way back, we end up finding out that my bike has sustained heavy damages, which unfortunately is down to the fact that Leon is a lousy shot and ended up shooting out my fuel pump. So I end up covering up my bike with a bunch of branches because unfortunately the bike is too heavy and I can't push it all the way home because I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. So I hop on the bike with Boozer and we ride out of there. We follow the location on the map but end up hitting a blockade. Me and Boozer use our big strong arm strength to push the car out of the way. This one's for you ladies. We end up getting ambushed by a bunch of hillbillies. I try to tell them you won't like me when I'm angry, but accidentally said hungry instead and they get even more angry. Yeah, that just happened. Moving on. I don't really know what's happening at this point. I'm just winging it just like you guys are. You know, I'm providing the content, you guys are watching. But somehow, I've ended up in a tunnel. And me being the atomic savage I am, I decided to burn the freakers out of their home with the Molotov because who doesn't love freshly crispy bacon bits? I'm sorry, I meant to say zombie tits. Boozer and I stumble across a gas station slash motel that's been overrun with freakers. I ask him to ride off loudly and draw as many of them away as possible so I can grab the parts I need to fix my bike. Boozer being the absolute mad head he is and having balls the size of an elephant's foot, he just rides off not giving a damn in the world and takes half of the continent with him. I use my level 10 ninja stealth and sneak in to find a fuel pump. But unfortunately Boozer calls me on his radio shouting out for rippers. I run in search of him and find Boozer has just been pinned down by a group of rippers and is about to lose his arm to a bunch of cannibal skinheads who cut themselves. I make quick work of the rippers, but unfortunately we take a look at Boozer's arm and it kinda looks more like a kebab than something that should be driving a bike. So I offer to take Boozer home so he can get the medical attention he so desperately needs. Once home, I help carry him up the stairs and into his room where I tuck him into bed, give him a little kiss goodnight and let him have a little snoozy because he's my little Boozy. While Boozer is sleeping, I go off in search of medical supplies and I end up finding a camp, Copeland's camp, whilst chasing a man that was spotted nearby to our home. I promise I'm not a stalker, I just had to make sure he wouldn't tell others of Boozer's location. Thankfully they seem like really nice guys, and I think they're starting to like me. Copeland takes me on a tour and talks for about 35 minutes, and I kinda want to punch him in the face, but at the same time he's an ugly fella, it looks like he's been through a lot, so I'll let him pass this time. Once Copeland finishes talking, he tells me that he wants me to do some errands for him to prove my loyalty. I tell him to suck a wet sock and go downstairs in search of food as I start to notice my tummy is getting a bit rumbly. Once downstairs, I meet a nice lady at the soup kitchen who apparently knows me. I'm a bit confused by the food that's here. There's nothing but zombie ears, but it could be a delicacy here, and I'm not a racist, so I'll give it a try. I end up having to leave the soup kitchen lady though because I start to feel a little uncomfortable. She's checking me out too much, and no offense to her, I really appreciate the fact that she has an eye for good taste, but I have to quickly decline as I'm a straight male and only date fine wines, and as you can see, she's being used.
Hey, good job.
I'm just kidding, of course. I love all women, especially the used ones. No, but seriously though, she's a great lady. I mean, every time I greet her, she quite literally serves soup with a smile. Next, I head over to Johnny's Chop Shop so we can pimp my ride, but unfortunately, the bike that is currently pulling apart is the same bike that I left in the rain previously. I get really angry, and I think he gets really nervous over my big shredded arms and promises to fix me a new bike. But unfortunately, the money-hungry Malaka still wants me to pay for the parts. Yeah. This bike is nothing like my old bike. As I pass through the nearest Nero checkpoint, I realise that it's out of power and has been overrun by freakers. I grab a nearby jerry can and use the petrol on a backup generator to supply the checkpoint with electricity. Once inside, I find some bandages and a Nero injector. A Nero injector is basically like any other injector, except this one runs on batteries and it's probably not been tested on humans before, but I'm not a wimp, so I offer myself as a test subject. Next, I come back home to give Boozer the bandages, but unfortunately I find him dead on the bed. I'm just kidding, he's sleeping, but he did nearly blow my head off though, and that would have ended the game very, very early, so that was quite a shock. I'm not too sure how I ended up at this tower, but I had to clear out a gang hideout, which was fairly easy, but unfortunately, as I turn on the power, a woman gets the drop on me. Not too sure why one woman and 30 men would be on top of a hill under a telephone tower, but nonetheless, that's not my business. However, I am going to say it's probably not to play Candy Crush with the maximum mobile data signal. I climb the top of the tower from the hill where I just defeated the gang hideout. Once I reach the top, I plug in my Wii Fit, and I finally get zero lag, and know for sure I'm going to be able to beat my friend over in Azerbaijan. I'm just kidding. I mean, not really. The views from up here are incredible. I use my binoculars and spot smoke in the distance from what can only be described as looking like a hipster sacrificial ritual, which I can't wait to join in and see if they serve chocolate fondue. I finally get a bit of me time and go looking for the stash that Leon hid in the graveyard at the beginning of the game. I do a bit of FBI investigation work and discover the loot inside of a concrete coffin next to some skinny guy's body. Maybe eat some chicken and broccoli, fella? As I go to take the stash back to my bike, I parkour myself around some zombies and have a helicopter fly over my head out of nowhere. I do some more investigation work using bushes and rocks that I just always happen to have on my body, because, you know, I'm a rock collector, and discover there's scientists researching the freakers by fondling with their poo-poo. Once I get the all clear, I run away like Usain Bolt in the 2009 Berlin Olympics and call Boozer to tell him the news. The news does get cut really, really short when one zombie out of a group decides to spear tackle me out of nowhere, taking me off my bike, crashing into the ground, but no need to fear, I may have no ammunition, but I have a hatchet and I have a rock. Oh, jeez, I'm knackered. Once I dealt with those willies, I ended up having to take what felt like a 2-hour drive over to Tucker's camp. When I arrived, there's two things that I noticed. One, that this place is absolutely massive in comparison to Copeland's camp, and two, that everybody here looks extremely dodgy. Tucker took me on a tour of her camp, which was a lot more exciting than Copeland's because she let me kick my feet up in a golf cart instead of making me go walking like that ugly kid Copeland who made me go 12 hours uphill. It wasn't exactly your typical tour, kinda just Tucker roasting everyone in the camp for being lazy, so good team spirit. As I go to leave the camp, things start to get a little strange, as Tucker is following me in her golf cart, blatantly trying to seduce me. No offense, Tucker, you seem like a really nice lady, but you're too old and big for my liking, but thanks for the offer. We're just from two different worlds. You're an out-of-date ham, and I'm a medium rare steak. You do the maths. I then end up speaking to Alakai to acquire him for new weapons, and I end up buying a new pistol. When I reach my bike, I get prompted with an option to choose either to deliver the stash to Copeland or to Tucker, and let's be honest, everybody knows I'm choosing Copeland. But let me know in the comments below, who would you have chose? On my way over to Copeland's camp, I end up finding a guy trapped in a car surrounded by freakers. I make quick work of the freakers around him. I'm then prompted with an option to tell him which camp I recommend he go to, but I couldn't get over the fact that he has the biggest head I have ever seen in my life. I finally reach Copeland's camp and give him the stash that I've been waiting to do since the beginning of the game. We've been through so much leading up to this point, and he looks like a happy child who just discovered they got a dog for Christmas. He rewards me by giving me some sexy upgrades for my bike, but I still have to pay for it. What a sellout. Well, screw you, Copeland. I see how it is, making me do all this hard-working labour for nothing. I guess now I know why being a delivery driver is not a job for me that I want in the real world. The rewards aren't that big and the benefits are so small. Maybe I should just become a cosplaying Batman instead. I guess I'll just stick to making crappy YouTube content for now. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know how you would survive in a post-apocalyptic landscape. As always, I appreciate the support, and I hope to see you guys next time. Also, be sure to follow the channel on Twitch and Instagram at SimplyKK18, and never forget to tip your pizza guy, especially if that pizza guy is a drifter named Deacon St. John who drives a Harley with a snapback. Also guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the support over the past couple of months. This being my first serious YouTube video in a long time, I've really been nervous about posting it, but you guys have always been great from start to finish, and make these videos so much easier, so thank you.
Hey, it's okay. You're gonna die out here.
My name is Jeff. Two snipers down the back A. There's a parrot in
Oh,
this
he just
fucking
hit me
lobby.
too!
He's a fucking mongo.
My god!